Hey guys, so today we're going to be kind of diving more into our conversations about staying safe online. We're in the Like This unit like we started last week, but I wanted to kind of start diving into some of those questions that you might be kind of asking in your head about um, how do I stay safe online? A lot of you might be using social media, maybe Instagram, Snapchat, TikToks, whatever. Um, and some of you, maybe you're not involved with social media, but maybe you do online gaming, or maybe you go on YouTube and you scroll YouTube videos, whatever. But all of us have to some extent, um, a way to connect with social medias, whether you have profiles on your own or whether you kind of are just a web browser or a gamer. So, at this point in your life, you've probably experienced some things online to some extent that are either inappropriate, or maybe you've witnessed cyberbullying happen before, or maybe you've seen things that kind of seem a little fishy. And it's important to kind of start thinking about how do you avoid those situations, or how do you react in situations when you come across something that might be a little sketchy online. So some of those things, we're going to be kind of looking at some scenarios in this video. And then during the video, I'm going to pause it every so often, since this is a play pause it. I'm going to pause it every so often, and you're going to respond with how do you think you should react in that specific scenario, okay? And I tried to choose situations that you might have encountered yourself, or you might have had friends that have encountered these too, okay? But it is important to make sure that you're thinking about how to best keep yourself safe online, because the fact of the matter is that criminals do use the internet, and they try to target kids your age because they think that you're not going to know any better. So it's important to kind of empower yourself to understand and recognize those signs of when criminals might be trying to target you. And I know that's kind of scary to think about, but it's just the state of our world and what unfortunately happens. And you need to make sure that you're well equipped to understand how to fight back against that kind of stuff. Okay. So I'm going to scroll down in my document. And like I said, every so often, I'm going to pause the video and you're going to answer a question. Okay. So here's our scenario. Scenario number 1. Cindy has been talking online to a girl named Julie for a few days now. Julie has told Cindy where she lives, how old she is, where she goes to school, and what she looks like. Julie asks Cindy what school she goes to. Is it okay for Cindy to tell her? Okay, so go ahead and answer that question now. What would you do? All right, so hopefully you chose the answer that related to no, it's not okay to tell her what school she goes to. Why? It might seem like it's an innocent answer, but it's really not, because who she might be talking to, even though this girl says her name is Julie, and they've kind of shared information or talked online. If she shares where she goes to school, that's sharing personal information, and sharing personal information with anyone online that you've never met before, or even just posting it on your profile, is a very dangerous thing, because it gives criminals the idea, information into your life that should be private. So you should never be posting information online about your phone number, your current location. So I know on Snapchat and I think Instagram, it has like location awareness. You need to make sure that you turn that off, because people could track where you are. Never share your address, what school you go to. All that information needs to be kept offline. Also, things like your birthday, and like the year you were born. Those types of things can be used against you as well. So you want to be very careful with what you choose to put online. Something that's safe to say online is like your favorite color, sports team. Your first name is fine. Don't share your last name though. Okay. Let's move on to our next scenario. Nick is playing Fortnite online with some friends who he has never met in real life. One guy named Harry talks about how he is in high school and lives in Maryland, and Nick and Harry have a lot in common. They both like to play basketball at school, they both play Xbox constantly, and they both live in Maryland. Harry tells Nick that he just got his license and thinks it would be cool if he could meet up and play video games together sometime this weekend. Should Nick meet up with him? Go ahead and answer the question in your multiple choice. All right, so hopefully you chose no, it is not safe for him to meet up with him. Why? Even though it seems like they have a lot in common and they're really good friends, You need to be aware of the fact that criminals actually use this type of technique to try to lure young people into believing that they're your good friend. A lot of times, those things that you hear on the news, like kids getting kidnapped or kids talking to people online and getting abducted, it might seem kind of far-fetched and weird that a kid would just decide to, trust someone online that's a stranger. But it's not like these strangers are saying, "Hey, I'm an online stranger. Come talk to me." They don't present that way. They basically try to get to know you. They try to act like they have a lot in common with you. And they get to the point where you feel like you can trust them really, really well, to the point where you consider them your best friend or even more than that. And it's just not a good thing. So you want to make sure that you're being very careful and cautious when someone online that you've never met in person before has so much in common with you. You feel like you can trust them. A lot of times they're not really who they say they are. Okay. So you want to be very careful with that type of scenario. And that's why it would not be safe for Nick to meet up with him in this scenario. Let's move on to scenario number 3. Michael is online talking to his friend from school, Chris. They are working on their homework together and studying for a test. Chris says they should meet before class to review for the test. Is this okay? Okay, go ahead and answer that question. So if you answered yes, it is okay, you are right. It is okay in this scenario because Michael and Chris are friends from school. So even if they're meeting up outside of school and they're talking about meeting up online in person, it's safe because they know each other already outside of school. It's a classmate. They know that it's safe to meet up. Okay. Scenario number 4. Brooke received a direct message from a random guy saying, "Hey, what's up, cutie?" Brooke thinks his picture looks cute. Should she reply? What should she do? Go ahead and answer. All right, so in this scenario, it would be dangerous for Brooke to go ahead and have a conversation with this person. Unfortunately, this type of scenario happens very frequently. You probably may have even had this type of thing happen to you before. A lot of times, this is the type of scenario that is an online stranger, someone who is trying to get you to trust them. And you can't always trust what's on their profile. So if their picture is of this really cute guy, for example, or this really cute girl that looks your age, don't assume that that's real actual information. It's usually not, or sometimes not. So you want to make sure that you're not responding. The best response for this would be to tell an adult that someone sent you this message. To block the user would be an option as well, or to simply not respond. But answering or even replying, "Hey, don't talk to me," it's usually not a good idea. Don't even respond to it. Next scenario. Jennifer is talking to a friend online when she gets a message saying there is trouble with her computer and she needs to type in her online password again. Should she do it? What should she do? Go ahead and answer your question. So this one's a little tricky to answer. It really depends on what type of program is kind of popping up on the computer. But a lot of times, if something like a pop-up ad comes up online and asks you to enter your password, it's usually not a good idea to do that. The best case scenario here, or the best option for what you should do in this scenario, is to go ask an adult and see if this is like a legitimate thing to put your password in. The reason why it could potentially be dangerous is there's something called phishing. And basically what that means is it's when criminals try to get your password information by asking questions like this and kind of making it seem like it's safe to put your password in. And then they're going to go ahead and use your password against you later on to try to get personal information. So it's always good to ask an adult in this scenario. Next scenario, Jake is talking to a friend online who he met on the internet. The friend offers to help him finish his homework and asks for Jake's phone number. Is it okay for Jake to give it to him since it has to do with homework? Go ahead and answer this question. Okay, so the answer on this with this is probably not, because they have never met. They've only met on the internet. And also, if he's helping that scenario, it's kind of like iffy. But in general, if you need help with your homework, don't go ask some random stranger on the internet. Maybe talk to your teacher or maybe a friend who's in your class. And also, the other problem with it is, hello, it's cheating. Okay, so you want to make sure that, a friend wouldn't offer to help you finish your homework. They would offer to help you with your homework. There's a big difference there. So there's a couple issues with this one. All right, next scenario. Allison met Linda on the internet and has been talking to Linda online for several months. Linda says she is the same age as Allison and lives nearby. Linda wants to meet Allison in the mall to go shopping. Should Allison go meet her? What should she do? Go ahead and answer this question. Okay, so the answer is no, she should not go meet her because she met this person online on the internet. It could be someone that is saying that she lives nearby, saying that she is the same age, but it could be someone completely different, like a much older person, or maybe someone of a different gender. So you want to make sure that you're being very careful with people asking you to meet up online. Next scenario. Jeff got an email from someone he doesn't know with a file attached. Should he open it? What should he do? Go ahead and answer this question. The answer is no. A lot of times when you get emails that has an attached file from someone that you don't know, that could be a computer virus. So you want to be very careful about that. Next one. Tina gets an online message on a social media site from a woman who says her name is Miss Anderson and tells Tina that she is a math teacher. Miss Anderson wants to know what school Tina goes to and what her teacher's name is. Should Tina tell her? What should she do? Go ahead and answer this question. The answer is no. She should not tell her what her teacher's name is and what school she goes to because it just seems a little fishy. So if someone's saying like, hey, I'm a math teacher, you don't know who this stranger is. So best way to go about this is to just ignore the request. Last one. Paul is online when he gets a message saying he wants a free Xbox. He just needs to send in his address and phone number so it can be mailed to him. Should he give out the information? What should he do? Go ahead and answer this question. So the answer is no. Unfortunately, a lot of those type of pop-ups that come up online when we're searching online that says, hey, you want a free cruise, or hey, you want an Xbox. A lot of times they're just kind of fishing for your information. It could be scams. It could be criminals trying to get that personal information like your phone number and address to use that information against you later. So it's always a good idea to just ignore it. Not usually an actual contest. They're just trying to get your information. Okay? Thanks for answering all my questions today, guys, and remember to stay safe online. If you have any questions or need help with a scenario that you've encountered online, maybe on social media, feel free to reach out to me through Schoology, and I can help you figure out how to respond best to that scenario, okay? Have a good day.